each other using Bell, and that's how we captured all this. So, yeah. Thanks, telephone companies, for hanging in.
All right, I'm recording.
There's 2 people, right? I'm recording also. Yeah, there's Alexander Graham Bell and that Italian guy. So, apologies.
Mussolini?
No, I don't think he did that one. He was a big film festival nut, though, which is always funny to me. Because, he's evil, but still, film festival, I can't be mad at that. But that's on recording now, so not completely mad at Mussolini all the time. Crazy. That's so European.
Welcome to the Pixel Response Podcast.
Which I have gloves on, so it's really going to muffle that clap, but I'm going to look at the waveform.
Yeah, I just looked at my waveform because my hands are like really sore right now. I'm getting like some weird arthritis pain, and I'm looking out the window, and I think it's going to get a little rainy or something. So
that's weird because like from my angle, it just looks like a bolt of sun is just coming in your room. It's like the nicest day ever. But I guess I don't have the actual.
Oh, I wonder if that's
point.
like because of the back
reflections.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reflection from my blinds, I guess.
Okay, it's actually storm clouds and mayhem.
Not storm clouds, but like definitely not nice looking.
Okay, we'll stay inside then and talk about sumo wrestling on this week's special episode of the Pixel Response Podcast featuring Paul Fleck, Nathan Rohr.
Yeah,
we're Basho crazy right now.
It's special
Basho.
Because it's going to be shorter than usual.
I guess so. More focused, narrower topic pool this time, but no less fun and more in depth, perhaps, because there's less things. So we'll see.
Sure.
But so this was your first Basho.
First full Basho, yeah. Before we'll say first. So I had seen a sumo match before, and I've got through osmosis sumo things, and I'm pretty sure I've seen like a Vice documentary, like a 20-minute thing that's like inside Japan's traditional sport or some shit. But this is the first it's kind of the equivalent of like people probably have seen a hockey game at the pub or something. But this would be my first Stanley Cup playoff run that I watched. Were
you actually how is this structured? How does this work? What does the league do and how? And
specifically the names of the people and finding dogs in the fight, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. So I think most of your viewing experience was via Jason's All Sumo channel or on YouTube.
It was, yeah. So the way I did this actually is I restreamed it on Twitch and got a healthy little community of us just chatting and getting excited and doing the Twitch. Twitch has a system where you can do quote unquote predictions, which is their nice way of saying betting fake money, because you can get points in chats for existing and whatever, and you can use those points. The person who runs the chat can set up things that you can spend those points on if you're a chatter, and a way to do some things as predictions, and you get payouts and stuff like that. So this was an amazing way to use predictions because there's only 2 people on screen, and sometimes a match would be a minute tops usually. So, it was pretty great, and a lot of build up too, which is also great because what you want to do is set up who's in this match, start the prediction, and give them 2 to 5 minutes to
get ready and make your choice. Yeah. Based on nothing for a lot of people. It's just I like blue. I don't know. This guy's Mawashi. Sure.
That's definitely the way a lot of people did. By the end, people were actually saying names and just being oh, he's been on a streak, man. It was pretty dope. It was a great way to do that for sure.
Okay.
But huge shout out to him. I every time I could just linked, like, go follow this guy. I'm probably gonna look into buying merch or something to support.
Yeah, he's been a like real lifesaver for the past year and a bit of sumo coverage. Mine first Basho was March last year when sports shut down.
Oh, okay.
Except sumo. So that one was in Osaka, and that was like a full Basho with no people. Like this one had 3 days at the outset that had nobody in the stadium.
It was weird.
In Tokyo.
Yeah.
That one was like, nobody can ever be in here. We're still figuring this out. And then last year's May tournament was just outright canceled. So there hadn't been a May tournament since before that, 2019. So this was kind of a return for this, window of the season or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, there's one every 2 months. There's 15 days. If you secure 8 or more wins, you get a Kachikoshi and you move up the ladder. If you fail, you get a Makikoshi and you move down the ladder. And then there's the kind of top ranked guys that have more secure positions. Ozeki is kind of the top right now because the only Yokozuna has been injured for quite some time. He won that first tournament I saw back in March, Hakuho. But we're hoping he's back in July for at least one last great run. We'll see what happens.
He is touted by literally everybody as the greatest Yokozuna to live. So like that has lived.
He's got the most tournament wins ever by like a significant margin.
Yeah.
But it gets weird when you go way back into like before the 50s and 60s and stuff because there was less tournaments a year, so it would have been like impossible to do what he's doing. But still, you'd like to think that like the sport has gotten more people in it and stuff, and it would probably be he's still excellent. So yeah, it's not really that fuzzy. It's a pretty clear cut case. And yeah, it opens up a bunch of weird stuff about like how the Japan Sumo Association is kind of like weirdly old fashioned about like foreign wrestlers and stuff, like with Mongolian Yokozuna. There's
it just kind of comes with the territory though, right? Because it's like they don't have female people or females even like in the area because they have menstrual blood. Like they're very traditional just in general. So like
world,
of course they would kind of.
And this is like a tradition bound sport to a fault. Like,
exactly.
I kind of love it in how it's like you can like relate stuff from it to hundreds of years ago matches and stuff, but at the same time, it's like whenever there's an injury, it's like they're super surprised it happened. Like they're not prepared.
It's almost like our
really
work.
Because it's like it's almost like a guaranteed concussion like every time. Because it's like every Tachiai, which is like the initial clash, it's just two giant dudes mashing heads together. And it's like, this is so prone to problems. And there's not like an ambulance guy or anything ready. It's just kind of like, oh, dude, that guy's like hurt. Do we have a wheelchair? Like everybody kind of stops, and there's like moments where I didn't see any like grievous ones this Basho, but it's gotten scary in the past. Like it's definitely could use a little sprucing up on that side of things. But generally speaking, just like just two guys enter the ring, like pushing each other out or forcing each other down with various like throws and things. It's a very nice, simple, straightforward sport, and I really enjoy it. Like it's got a purity to it or something. Yeah.
Again, like you said, maybe to a fault in some ways.
Yeah. Just bash and
the fact that there's literally injuries. Not a champion, for instance, currently.
Oh, like that a sort of grand Yokozuna right now. Like
it would be like literally again to go back to like the NHL type idea. It's like, who's going to be the second best team because they can't play the first best team because they're out this year. Like it's weird. It's a weird
for individual
thing.
Sports or something. It's just like LeBron's been hurt since like last year. He hasn't played. It's like, what? Like, okay, is he out then? Is he done in the league? No, he'll be back. It's okay. I'm just waiting, like, for the champion.
It, physically hurts still, though, every time the match starts, and it's basically just the sound of two trucks colliding.
Yeah. I think they've sort of tweaked how the Tachiai works compared to, like, the 80s. Like, it's a little weird looking back at old sumo footage. Like, I think it's a little more consented now, like, when they go. Like, the kind of putting your fingers down to, like, signal you're ready and then the Gyoji, like the judge, kind of
Right.
can stop it and be like, whoa, obviously that guy wasn't ready, and like start it over and stuff. They're a little more mindful about it. I think it was like a little more just kind of, it would happen like back in the 80s, like looking at old footage. So it might have been even more prone to cracking heads.
There are still a few times where it's just like one guy was obviously ready and started, and then like he had to like walk it off essentially right away. And that's like really cringy to watch, you know? It's like
just kind of a bad match from some guy where he's just like completely overwhelmed. Yeah.
It's
rough.
The way I described it was like calling your teacher mom in class or something as a kid, just like being the first one to like start when the other guy.
Oh, the false starts, you mean?
The false start,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Those are like just cringy to watch because one guy is just like so obviously in the wrong, and like he just has to like walk away. Almost like a walk of shame.
I think there's a thing once you're in like the upper echelon, like if you're like say a Mega Shiro 1 and an Ozeki did a false start to you, it is very respectful and cool of you to do one back, you know?
Oh, like to show that like, hey, it's cool. I'm also
like
an idiot.
To false start in reply as a kind of like diffusing. It's really weird. I've seen it happen like once or twice, and it's just like, that's really neat. Like just like I don't know, there's sort of this decorum or whatever amongst it. And yeah, just all these little details that's like come out of just like how you wave your hand to collect your envelope stack of winnings and all this little things that like creep in over the course of a tourney. But like, yeah it's a very fun, I've really enjoyed watching it. And yeah, this tournament specifically like seemed like a walk away, nothing happening for like a good stretch of it. Like there was a clear-cut front runner, Terunofuji, who I've alluded to before. But in the last couple days, it actually got pretty cool. Like he lost one legitimately.
He had a weird, that hair one I call a little bullshit still, but sure, whatever. Yeah, I almost feel like they did that because they needed to shake him or something. Like it almost felt like they had to
spice up the proceedings a bit.
Yeah, it felt wrong. You know,
it was sort of a two-pronged thing. Yeah, to spice up the proceedings, and one of like the main judges is his coach. Mm-hmm. So it would be like, it would look really weird if like he voted, no, it's fine, that wasn't even really a hair pull, he got the victory, and it's like, that wouldn't look good though, so we can't even do that, you know, because you're on the council or whatever. So it was dicey. Yeah. And then Endo's victory over him was kind of like, that could have been a Torinyoshi where they do it again, but they kind of ruled it like, no, Endo won. You know? Yeah,
that was also another political one, I think, though, because they should have done that again. It was way too close to call like that.
Yeah, like there's other fights over the course of the Basho that were do-overs that were like, I don't know. That guy's knee kind of went down, but whatever. And then they just kind of do it again because it's more exciting and it's cool. And the fights are lower stakes. But in this case, it's like,
I kind of don't want to be this guy, but I will be. Might also be because he's Mongolian. He's not Japanese. So a little racism in there as well.
Oh, like the Japanese judges kind of wanting to make it more challenging artificially or helping Takakei.
Well, because Endo is Japanese, right?
Oh, yeah. Or in that case, like Takakei Sho had an actual chance at the championship because of all this, and he's a Japanese Ozeki. So there is that. If you want to like get into that, there was like a dicey tournament a while ago in the summer where Takakei Sho was Kadoban status, like he could be demoted if he lost 8.
And he just magically pulled one out at the last minute, right?
Well, 2 of his fights were like judge's verdict kind of things. Like one was against Enho, this like diminutive wrestler that people really like because it's kind of a David Goliath thing. Like he's undersized to be in the division, kind of. Sure. But it was like this weird like dead body ruling at the edge of the ring where it's like, well, he was out first, but Enho couldn't possibly recover, so he's actually the one who loses. Like it was like a real like what like technicality type match, and he had 2 of those to get to 8 and then dropped out of the tournament at like day 10 or whatever. Like it was kind of weird. Like he barely crawled over it to 8, but then he had some like legit good tournaments after that, so he kind of like erased that negative energy. Whereas like the guy that was like barely over the line this time was Shodai, who I was like a fan of like previous tournaments. Like I was happy to see him win an Emperor's Cup a couple months ago.
Oh, you weren't a fan this time around?
Oh, he just didn't have it together this time.
Yeah,
a lot of his victories were really fluky. And then he didn't have to fight Asanoyama like the other Ozeki because he got like banished.
Wait.
Basically. Yeah.
Oh, wait. I thought that was Takayasu. Didn't have to.
Oh, no, Takayasu got a Fasensho victory, but there was, like, in the final few days, it would probably have been a battle between the top Ozeki guys.
Yeah.
In the schedule, but because Asanoyama got, like, in huge trouble for violating COVID protocols.
Specifically for going to a hostess bar, fucking moron.
Yeah. A bunch of times, I guess, I think, is emerging, as it turns out.
Oh,
it was like a one-shot thing.
I thought it was, like, the night before. Or something.
Yeah, I think it's like, oh no, he's been out and about, and he was lying about it to like the elders and stuff. So yeah, this sort of happened last year with this guy named Abi, who was in kind of the top division anyway, and like decent ranking. Like I think he's been Sekewake, which is the third highest. But he was violating COVID protocols in like July or something. So then he was demoted for several tournaments and is currently fighting his way back up from the third tier division, which every Basho I've been watching the top two divisions, like another channel called Natsu Sumo, post the Juryo matches. Recently they've also been doing Makushita matches, but like those are so imbalanced. Like the fights are crazy. Like there's a bunch of them, and most of them are the quick, short, whoops, one guy clearly overwhelmed the other kind of battles that aren't really the greatest. So, and you kind of can't keep up with all the names because there's like 50 or 60 dudes in that tier.
Yeah.
And it's a little much to handle. The Juryo division is a lot smaller, so it's actually pretty easy to track everybody down there. So it's just kind of an extra little bonus 15 minutes of sumo every day. But yeah, the main way I've been watching it is kind of like over breakfast. I get like 40 minutes of sumo. So I didn't do a big, giant mega marathon. I've never really done it that way. How is like a colossal chunk of sumo? I've never really approached it that way.
I think without it being kind of clipped into the matches, it would have been preposterous because like there were a bunch of times. I mean, he didn't do every day fully because he had a life too. Has a life too. So like some days were just like the highlight reel, and those were kind of nice, honestly, to like
because you get maximum fights in minimum time. Yeah. That's so sort of what the Natsu Sumo channel like boils their stuff down to. I think they've run afoul of like NHK copyright stuff though, so they can't keep them up for very long. So Jason's channel is good as kind of like a archive of like a Basho going forward because it's still there. NHK because they're not doing their own Natto because they're not doing their own commentary over it or anything, they get like flagged and taken down.
Yeah, because they're not providing content, they're literally just restreaming essentially. And it's weird because NHK does prepare their own like highlight packages, but they're just forever late. Like they're like a day and a half, 2 days after the day of his events, this like edited package goes up on their site. Yeah. And it's like well done and everything, but it's like, I can't do it this way because I'll get spoiled. Like I'll know Chiyumaru lost on day 4 and that's going to bum me out. Like I want to see it happen. So it's just kind of weird how they're a little behind the timetable. So that's the only reason I'm like turning to other stuff. And I enjoy Jason's commentary and zeroing in on certain stuff. Like his matches I'll watch, but the kind of generic like recaps, I could go to the real deal for that. It's just it takes too long. But yeah, just if people want to do it legally, it is there too, the highlights. But yeah, just kind of a pain in the ass.
It is, yeah. But anyway, overall pretty good feelings though about how it all panned out. I guess we can talk about it went down to a playoff. Like there was a final showdown.
It did, yeah. Yeah, that I mean the fact that there's no Yokozuna is weird. Like it just kind of I'm going to get into specifics about some things.
Okay.
I hate Takayasu. I fucking hate him. I can't stand him. The reason
Filipino guy?
Takayasu? He's Japanese.
Yeah, he's half Filipino also.
Yeah.
He's the fuzziest Rikishi yeah. Okay.
I fucking
What's
hate
wrong
him.
with his fight style, or what's going on?
No, his face looks exactly the same as a coworker from 20 years ago that I worked with. That's a real piece of shit. So I can't unsee it. So every time he fights, I want somebody to rip his fucking head off.
Oh no, he's one of the most mild-mannered Rikishi. I actually really enjoy him. I should have chosen him for my team. I chose Takanosho this tournament as part of this contest Jason runs, and he torpedoed my score completely.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, he's a very smiley guy, and people love him, and he's had a decent string of tournaments, but that was not. He had a 5-10 record this tournament. He really did not help anything. Whereas Takayasu's been pretty reliably good. But okay. So not a Takayasu fan just because he looks like someone you don't like.
Yeah, literally it. That's all it is. Because he's obviously a very confident Rikishi. Competent, rather.
Yeah.
Probably confident too, frankly. But competent is what I meant.
Oh, he had a real chance at winning last tournament, but the last few days just didn't work out. But yeah.
We already talked about the Asanoyama bullshit. Don't need to revisit that, really.
Yeah.
At first, I was just kind of all right, well, Jason was, pumping this guy up a little bit. I was just okay, what's so special about him? But every time I watched him fight, I was oh, man, guy's really dope. Is Wakataka Kage?
Wakatakage's had a good string of tournaments and the best name in the biz right now.
It's a great name.
He has two brothers that are also Rikishi. One is in the Juryo division and had a pretty good tournament, Wakamoto Haru. And then I can't remember the third brother's name, but he's down in Makushita. So there's three of them potentially in the upper echelon. But Wakataka Kage is the best. The other guy is Tobizaru, who had a pretty rough tournament, but he always seems to find a way to fly out of the ring into the crowd every match. So it becomes pretty common just to be Tobizaru's doing his little tour of the crowd saying hi to everybody, because he just gets wheeled out. And he always fights with a lot of spirit, but he had a pretty rough tournament. He had a really great debut tournament last year, so people got real hyped about him, but he's kind of settled back into learning his lessons dealing with some of these tougher dudes. So yeah, but he's still fun. Ura in the next tournament should be cool. He's just got a lot of weird moves, there's kind of these smaller wrestlers that have to rely on different techniques other than their size to pull off victories. So a lot of leg pulls and weird flying throws and stuff is what he's all about. So I hope it plays in the upper division too, because he won the Juryo championship, this most recent one. So yeah, he's a high flying weird kind of
weirdo.
Yeah, but it's neat when it's someone completely different style enters into the mix, because then you're just hearing different victory conditions and stuff. But anyway, hopefully this is interesting to people. It's easy to find a bunch of sumo content and see if you care. But yeah, it's definitely, concussion protocols could be way better and could be a lot less racist, but
totally.
It's Japan and it's ancient and weird. And I don't know, I still find something real cool about it. I'm hoping to see Japan again, obviously, once we get our vaccination passports or whatever the rules are going to be. Also, Japan is kind of in a big lockdown state right now. I think they're doing worse than us right now on that front. So I don't know that it would be wise to go there, but I hope to catch a Basho in my time, and see it happen. But yeah.
Well, it's probably not going anywhere. It is extremely old. So
yeah, I don't think it's going to fold now. And maybe we'll Takakeisho or Terunofuji will be Yokozunas then, and I'll get to see the grand processions and things around that, because there's a whole they wear these rope things and do a big ceremony every day is what's supposed to happen, but that just hasn't been happening. Yeah, because there hasn't been a top ranked guy, so
right.
Yeah, some of the pomp and circumstance has been missing from sumo for the past like year, so it would be cool to get it back to a more rock solid lineup of guys fighting. But it's still fun.
I definitely had fun. Like, I definitely think Terunofuji is going to make a run for Yokozuna next time. So it was nice to kind of be like there watching like him do his thing, like, because this is his first win that he needs or whatever.
Right. I would say if he's even runner up, I think they'd have to give it to him because he just won a previous tournament too. And like, so if it's a really strong showing, even you'd have to consider it. But it's and
then also like, I don't know, maybe politically, like if Hakuho doesn't come back or something happens, kind of want that representation for your sport. So like,
you want someone to be the top dog that everyone's gunning for, kind of thing. It makes it more exciting inherently. So I think they'd be sort of motivated to hope that happens, but it's got to be by the rules. You got to win 2 in a row as Ozeki. So
and we saw one. Yeah, we saw one. So
like some of it's missing because like I think Jason's just covered it a bunch of times, so he stopped doing it. But like I do kind of love seeing the procession of like crazy hardware they get as when they win, because they're just like all these giant cups and certificates and like mushrooms and like food prizes and all this weird like things they get. Like it's like you won 12 Stanley Cups like all at once. It's so weird.
It is it is a crazy. So we should talk about, is there anything more specific you want to talk about this Basho or like that? Because we should talk about just like sumo in general, like kind of like.
Sure. I don't know if there's any one specific story of like Hoshoryu, the nephew of a Yokozuna, had some cool victories or whatever, but we can broadly speak about the rules or something if you.
The amount of money they make is fucking crazy for like the top dogs. But then I was thinking, but also they are breaking their bodies in a way no one else in this world does at the age of 26 and up.
Yeah. Or like, and the recovery time between tournaments, like it's a couple months, like in this next case, like 6 weeks really, because they're moving it ahead for the Olympics. But these guys have like the most wrecked knees in the world. Like there's just like these taped up, bandaged guys trying to make it work. And as you get into like your mid 30s, like it's just, these guys just always have bandages on their legs. Like Tochi Noshin is a guy from Georgia. Who's just been like struggling for a while because it's just like he can't go get surgery and like sit out without being demoted out of like contention really, if you're not like a Yokozuna. That's the only secure rank, whereas anything else it's like no, you got to get back out there. Like Aoyama, he's Bulgarian, I think. He came back like 10 days into the tournament just to like try to get some victories so he didn't get demoted too far, and like got 3 or 4 or something, but he just had like tons of bandages on his back and stuff. Like it's just like, this is brutal. Like these guys are really having to force it just because of the like how totally strict and not forgiving the rules are. It's just like, no, you didn't show, you get demoted, like you're out. It's like, wow, okay. So it's pretty harsh, but
like
I don't know.
So UFC fighters and like wrestlers and stuff, they do the same, but they don't do it by putting on like an extra 600 pounds either as part of it.
Right.
Like it's what these people do to their bodies is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are kind of more trimmer, like muscular builds in here, but there are some just like, that guy's just big. That's just a giant dude. Like Tokushoryu, Chiyomaru, Akisiyama. Like there's a couple wrestlers that are just, that guy is really fat, and that is his like power in this, But heft. Yeah.
Scary though. Like I don't know, man. I don't know.
Fun. It's still weird. Yeah. It's an odd discipline, but I don't know. It's still probably my favorite combat sport because it's just so odd, and I like how it's structured really. Like
I like how short the matches are. They're like just clean, you know?
Yeah. It's rare to see a match over 2 minutes. Like, and I keep hearing this happens, but I've never seen it happen. Where at 2 minutes, the Gyoji is allowed to kind of pause everything and like memorize,
then reset it. Yeah.
How everybody was, and then they can like take a breath and like get some water and stuff and just like get ready to continue. But typically though, it'll be like, no, they just kind of get locked up, and then the judge will yell hakioi at them a bunch, which is like, fight with spirit, come on, like do it. And then they struggle a little more, and then someone falls or whatever. Like they just get so burnt out. Like it's one of Takakeisho's like weaknesses is he's like just this pusher guy. Like he really just, if his match isn't over in a minute, he's probably gonna lose, because like he just does not have the stamina for like a huge bout.
There's a few people like that for sure.
Just heft you out immediately, or else he's gonna.
And then they stop, like into a grapple because they can't do anymore, and they have to go on the defense.
Right. Where that's where some of the smaller guys like have that stamina, and then they're just trying weird stuff. Like Ura will typically like be like a couple feet apart from you in this kind of low stance and be like trying to get at your legs and like do weird swing arounds and stuff. Like it's just totally different matches than like the kind of body to body locked up trying to get grips on the belt kind of stuff that you see with the bigger guys. So I don't know. It's just different styles. And seeing them clash with each other is weird. But yeah. It
would be cool. Like, this isn't a worldwide phenomenon. It would be kind of cool to have, like, a worldwide championships of some sort, though. Like a representative. Like, basically, if this was more places, you would just put the Yokozuna from each nation, essentially.
In some mega tournament or something. Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
Cool. Yeah. No, like there's guys from other places like in throughout the ranks and stuff, but it's pretty narrow. It's like Japan, Mongolia dominate the sport. You get
Brazil
some Eastern European guys. Yeah, there's a Brazilian guy, Kaisei.
Not a fan of him really either.
Yeah. Although I think he managed Kachikoshi, but he was in the lower zone of this one.
He just didn't seem that impressive, but I guess like Jason gives him some airtime because a lot of Brazilians watch YouTube, so like they're rooting for their boy, and I get it.
Yeah, same with Georgia and stuff. Yeah, like the kind of novel. I think there's a Russian guy in the Makushita ranks right now. Hawaii used to be way into like sumo for like the 70s and 80s. Which went away, I guess. They kind of turned to football as the avenue. Yeah, like there was an Ozeki. I don't think there was a Yokozuna. There may have been, but there was like a lot of debate about that too. Like, are they being racist? Like, can there not be an American Yokozuna because this guy should be good enough, kind of stuff. But there's a handful of wrestlers from the 80s that were from America, I guess, like Hawaii. But
sure.
Samoan, but it was just kind of weird to not have that be a thing anymore. It's kind of too bad. I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah. Oh, and I guess PSA for any young listeners: if you want to become a rikishi, you have to do that before the age of 23, or you just can't. So,
dude, yeah. You know. Well, this is what I'm saying is that what they're doing to themselves, and like, they have to do it young. I'm not necessarily
endorsing it.
No.
I'm just saying. When I got way hype about it like a year ago, it's like, can you like do this? And it's like, you can't. You're too old, Nathan. You can't do it. You're not allowed. You're too old to become a Jedi. It's not allowed. It's like, okay. But
because like they need to start bulking up in like their muscle and their weight.
Yeah.
Like early, because this is a lifelong thing. Like these guys won't be doing office jobs. This is their life now.
Yeah. You are Rikishi, you are sumo wrestlers, you do have to like learn Japanese for like a year or something. There's like special like sumo school. If you're
that's cute.
Born. Yeah, like it's like a year of foreign school to become like up to code or whatever with Japanese and like the traditions and everything. And they're pretty strict about like if you want to run a stable, you have to like become a Japanese citizen and like become Japanese. So
sure.
Hakuho did that last year. Yeah. Just to like begin the next step of his excellence of coaching and stuff or whatever. But it's very tradition bound. So, but if some Canadian wants to be a Rikishi, you can. It's just a big commitment.
Have you looked into Canadian sumo wrestlers?
No.
There's two.
Okay. They actually, in the Japanese Sumo Association, had a time?
Well, let me quickly, I'm trying to understand how this works with, I'm looking it up through Wikipedia. Okay. Yeah. Brodick Mackenzie Philip Henderson from 2015 to 2016. And John Anthony Tenta Jr. from 85 to 86. He was Makashita 43.
Okay.
The other guy was Sandanme 46.
Okay. So they didn't make it up into the paid divisions. But that's about where this Russian guy is right now that I was seeing a couple tournaments ago. So,
but
sure.
This guy is the 2015 is not too long ago. He's 20 years old, from Victoria, British Columbia, 6'7", weighs 360 pounds.
That's a pretty tall Rikishi. That's there you go. Has a chance at it, but apparently not. But okay.
But yeah, not really.
No,
exactly.
it's a tough grind. Yeah.
Yeah.
But only the top two divisions get a salary, so you're kind of just part of a stable and you get room and board and whatever. But you're an intern or something in the stable,
but
making the stews and
that salary, if you get up there, is a lot.
It gets there, and if you win special prizes and stuff, it kind of rolls forward. And if you get a Kinboshi, which you can't get right now, but that's when a regular ranked guy beats a Yokozuna, you get a gold star, and that's a permanent achievement. It's whoa, you got a Kinboshi on that guy? That's crazy. You beat a top ranked dude.
Right.
But because Hakuho's not fighting, there's no way to get those. So
and
the
also,
JSA is saving a bunch of money.
That has to be one of the rarest things because honestly, even seeing an Ozeki fight, I don't know, a Megashira 9 or something, it's no contest. It's not even close.
It's typically a pretty tough ask, yeah.
That
was the
unlikely.
big thing with Hoshoryu. He got some good trip victories on one or two of the Ozeki. So it's okay, this guy's got some moves developing. That's cool.
Yeah.
Good to see. I think he ultimately had a losing tournament, but it's still the quality of the victories was really high. So
sure.
Yeah. People are looking at him with interest, I guess. But yeah, sumo. It's been a year and a bit of really digging more and more into it. I still get weird about watching it at work because it's just lot of dude on display, a lot of big burly skin battling. It's just I'm not explaining this. This is Japan. It's tradition. They have to wear the mawashi and grab
and also
push each other.
I'll just go ahead and say the people we work with are
old,
a little rednecky,
a little bit.
Yeah. So.
But but it's been around forever. I mean, if you're in Japan, it's oh yeah, of course, sumo wrestling. So I don't know. Maybe it's not as weird as I feel it would be, but it's still a fringe sport interest, I guess.
It is surprising to me how little it's in fighting games. Video games with different fight styles represented.
Yeah.
So
you have.
So go on. Sorry.
Well, it's just all I can think of is just E Honda is a Rikishi in Street Fighter, but
arguably the one everybody. If you think sumo in video games, he is the one. So that's cool. There is one in oh my god, I can't remember. Not Tekken. I think Virtua Fighter.
There's a Rikishi. Okay.
Yeah. And
maybe some of the later ones I don't know very well. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just weird how underrepresented that is.
I mean, coming from Japan too, you'd think there'd be a line of Japanese fighting games. There's all sorts of weird fringe fighting games, but other than, some PS2 games that kind of are way back and obviously Japan only, or there's this Circle of Sumo game that I mentioned briefly that's like a goofy top-down thing.
Yeah.
There's really just not a lot in this arena, and it seems like I don't know if it would be like something about like, actually, in Virtua Fighter how there's that kind of like off balance thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Like you wobble a character. Yep. It would be like a lot of stuff in that vein would be like how you'd have to develop the fighting system, I think, because there's ring outs like Soul Calibur or something is like the thing that can win you the fight a lot. But then if there was this kind of destabilizing the guy is kind of the goal, that would be the other thing. But I don't know. Yeah, it just hasn't really been developed, and I would be very interested.
I just found a top 10 list of sumo and video games. You want me to go through this quickly?
Sure.
Number 10, the Sumo Bros from Mario games.
Okay.
They're the dudes that stomp and then lightning shoots down on the ground.
That's true. That does happen. Yeah.
Hariyama from Pokemon. I don't know anything about Pokemon, so I'll take their word for it.
Okay.
Gani Tsurugi from Rival Schools. Never got into Rival Schools
Okay,
myself.
There's a character in Rival Schools. That makes sense. But those are kind of like, why isn't there a Rival Schools equivalent of just like, the Sumo Kings or something? And it's Sammy put it out, and there's 3 of them, and they exist over there or something. Like, also, that's what I wish happened.
I kind of don't love this quick write-up they did. While most sumo wrestlers on this list are depicted as honorable and wise, which they should be, like traditionally, Gani Tsurugi is a knucklehead. He's apparently he lacks discipline, and he doesn't attend sumo club. Like, he's, as far as I'm concerned, he's just a fat dude then. Like,
he's just phoning it in at school. He's not taking his college sumo seriously.
Yeah.
Man, gotta show up to practice. Oh, well.
Yeah. Gorokoron from Twilight Princess. He's a Goron elder. And that's true. I do remember that. You have to, sumo wrestle him at some point in that game.
Use gauntlets or something to, pick him up and throw him out or something?
I think, you push him and then, toss him out or something.
Okay.
So, I never played this game, but Bonchan from Tokaido, or Sumo Fighter Tokaido Basho. What is that? It's an NES game. From the 90s. I never did play it.
It's got Basho right in the name, so that sounds like the most legit so far.
It's a 2D sumo-based action game, released in 1991 in Japan, and released in 93 March in North America. By the way,
it actually came out here. Wow. Okay.
Apparently.
Japanese. Okay, sumo.
The player can get experience, grow sumo wrestler, perform special techniques. Yeah, this actually might be exactly what you want when you were asking for.
Like a Super Nintendo game. All right, I'll have to write that down.
Not Super Nintendo, Game Boy, by the looks of it.
Oh man. Well, it's better than nothing. I'll take my monochrome gaming. Yeah. Okay.
Number 5 is Hinako Shijo, which doesn't seem right because she's female and skinny, but she's from King of Fighters, and apparently she only weighs 93 pounds, but has enough technique to lift men who are 4 times larger. Okay, sure, it's a video game, whatever. I don't care.
That's smaller than Enho, dude. That's crazy.
Also, women aren't allowed but whatever.
Traditionally,
Whatever.
That can't happen, yeah.
Okay, this is like the actual... Oh my god, okay. You'll know what I mean in a second. Number 4 from Virtua Fighter is Taka Arashi.
Okay.
Never played it, heard of him, so.
Are they citing a specific Virtua Fighter or just the series? I'm not super familiar.
Let me quickly read their thing. The ring now formula introduced in Virtua Fighter helped define most 3D fighting games, forcing your opponent out of the ring is a way to win the match. In this environment, it's perfect fit for a sumo wrestler.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Virtua Fighter 3 that a proper sumo was featured.
Okay.
Taka Arashi was infamous in the sumo world for his brutality. His thrill of fighting inspired to seek him to seek out new challenges. Weird.
Okay. Did he not return in subsequent ones, or I just forgot about him?
I don't know. I never got into the series.
Tekken 3. Yeah.
No, Virtua Fighter, not Tekken.
Oh, Virtua Fighter. Sorry. But Virtua Fighter 4 was the one I spent the most time with, so
Gotcha.
Yeah. But okay.
But if you want to talk Tekken, the next one, number 3, is Ganryu.
Okay.
Rising star in the sumo world before he was pushed out of the sport for his problematic behavior.
All these like wild card Rikishi. It's like a Sanoyama.
I was gonna say he's the Sanoyama.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's anything. It doesn't say specifically where he started, but I don't remember him really. I also didn't play a lot, so. 2 was Malo from Pushmo, which is why I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I got Pushmo World for the Wii U basically just because of that. It was like that, and it was like, I think they're going to shut down the Wii U shop like any month now. I just don't trust it. So I had to like look for exclusives. But he's got a Mawashi. He's solving puzzles and helping children. Like, he's not really doing sumo. But I guess he's retired or something. It's just helping the world with their push puzzles.
Yeah. This is one thing he's good at, is pushing. It's in his name.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the name of the series,
game name,
I guess. Yeah. And then number 1, of course, was E Honda, because he is the face of sumo in video game. I really like how they actually implemented him in a fighting game where they really focused on like the slapping more than anything, because you have to.
There is a lot of slapping. There's a lot of pushing and slapping in sumo. That does happen.
And he has throws and stuff like that, but like, yeah, I kind of understand why I think it's a little hard. Like, a sumo wrestler in Soul Calibur just doesn't work.
No, they don't use weapons at all. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd like discipline of fighting. So it makes sense with the Virtual Fighter ring out thing to have that as a notion.
Yeah,
and then like that's a thing that E Honda can't even really capture. He just has to like pound the dude down or whatever, which is not how sumo works.
That's why he has this
really?
Like torpedo lunge or whatever, I guess, is like his representation of pushing a dude.
Right. I mean, I guess if it's not obvious, like if any part of your body like touches the dirt, you're done. Like, is like the other way you fail in sumo. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Virtual Fighter's kind of like wobbly, destabilizing a character thing would be like kind of a 1-2 move to just like knock a guy. Like, if you got a leg sweep, that's it. You won.
Yeah.
Because he hit the dirt, you know? So it'd be really short, punchy matches, which is also maybe not conducive to a traditional fighting game.
So,
because it's like 5 seconds.
Here's a question I give to you. If we're going to make a sumo game, what is like the design thing that we have to like really keep in mind? Is it like a fighting game? First of all, I'm sure it is. And then if it is, does it just like have an extensive grappling system where like you...
That's the thing. You could easily make some like... I feel it's the sort of comedic route Circle of Sumo does, is like the kind of like you're bouncing and pushing off each other, and it's about the ring out being silly, which is part of it. Like, honestly, Takakeisho had a hilarious loss this tournament where he like flew out of the ring. Like he like rushed at his opponent and like missed and like just vaulted out. Like, it happens, but a lot of it is like the clashing and the grappling and the finding grabs and things. So,
and that's
like,
kind of the more it's like a weird almost rock paper scissors at that point.
Yeah, like you're kind of trying to get an advantageous like position and inside position and grips that will allow you to force the other guy out, and then there's just brute strength and stuff. But like you could do kind of a quappy, weird control.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
like physics funny thing too, to try to like get it like with the hand positioning of like a Octodad or something, you know. But for it to actually like be functional over goofy would be the real struggle, I guess. Like, where it's like, no, you can master this weird gripping mechanic, and then it's actually has a weird amount of like momentum, physics, depth, and stuff. Honestly, like VR might help in this, because it's using your hands. Like, it's really hand positioning. So if it's just like has good motion tracked controls, that might be like the barrier missing from this, like a boxing game kind of thing, but for grabbing and vaulting. But I don't know. Yeah, it's tricky. like maybe that's really like one of the main reasons it hasn't been cracked, because it's like an interesting, weird sport, but there's like, how do you go about it?
It's like, a little too intricate, and like the things that make one side of it interesting, and a little too like casual in the other side that makes it interesting. So it's easier to go for that one.
Right. Circle of Sumo basically boils down to like this kind of mind game of like there's a move that's pretty unpopular in sumo called the henka, where you jump out of the way at the initial clash. And it's like a lot of matches in Circle of Sumo will kind of boil down to that. Like, will someone charge up to do a rush attack and the other person just kind of steps aside and then they win? Like, it's kind of a rock, paper, scissors-y. Like, is he going to try to bounce me out, or is he going to slowly approach me, or just kind of wiggle around the ring to try to push me kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like, it's all about the ring out in that game, basically. Whereas, there's so much more to it. It's just, and then they have to spice it up with like weird, like there is a traditional dohyo, but then there's like all sorts of kooky like levels and stuff. Like you're on top of a tower and there's a bird or something, like just to make it more weird. Because it's otherwise very narrow mechanically. So
it is free.
It was a fun few hours, but yeah.
Like we should mention, it is a free game. So you could just try
it's worth at least looking at. It captures like a little bit of it, but I want the real deal, like full thing. But it's a puzzle for sure, development wise. But anyway,
can I end this with one thing that I just read that's kind of funny? In Sumo Fighter Tokaido Basho, you can, after you beat the game on hard mode, you can play on super mode. In order to get the ending text and credits, you have to finish it at all 3 difficulty: normal, hard, and super. Each playthrough gets harder, higher difficulties pit the player against new enemies, or blah, blah, blah. The end message from the game producer to the players: even if you're good at this game, you can't grow as a sumo wrestler.
Whereas you'd think it'd be like, congratulations, you're a Yokozuna or something, but it's like, no, you can't. Very discouraging.
I thought that was great.
Thanks, Game Boy game, that I put all this time into. Oh, man. But, yeah. I guess if we want to pivot over to video games that do exist, we can talk briefly about my most recent sessions with Mass Effect.
Sure.
Which, a lot of story time in the Citadel, kind of getting used to like, oh yeah, you just kind of get introduced to a bunch of characters and run around.
2 questions. What are the elephant people called again? And what are the weird jellyfish? Elcor and the jellyfish things.
Hanar?
Hanar. This one is named whatever, like that.
Yeah, this one wants to be a crazy street preacher, like that Polish guy you hate. And it's like, oh yeah, my attitude towards you has changed a lot.
Childish laugh. Like they have to say their emotion. Yeah. There's great shit in that. Oh my god, I wish I could revisit for the first time, finding that whole universe of aliens out again.
Yeah, no, they do a pretty fun job of just jumping you into like that place and just seeing all this craziness. It was a bit like, where do I go? Where's the CSEC headquarters? Like I was just kind of wandering around this giant mall.
It's in the basement, right?
Yeah, it was like around a ramp or something.
Yeah.
I kept seeing signs for it, and then there was Executor Palin or whatever, and I thought his office was the CSEC office because he's like this super serious Torian dude, and it's like, no. That guy might have something to do with CSEC, but that is not what that is.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, I guess it was down here. Like just dumb stuff. So I definitely lost some time there. But yeah, it just jumps you into like, here's Rex, here's Tally, here's Garrus. Like you get the cool team members, so you never need to deal with Ashley and Caden again, which I just was like, these people are just so lame. Like I would never have them with me over these other options, like past an early point.
I do like that Ashley's a human racist. Like,
yeah, she's so
a
racist.
Human supremacist. I like that.
Yeah.
You kind of need that character in a game where there's aliens, because that's unfortunately very real.
Yeah, there's skepticism from my crew too. It's like, a lot of non-humans on board. It's like, yeah, they're like the coolest people in this game. What are you talking about? But okay.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Garrus is cool, but his whole like, oh, the law and rules, like, fuck off. Fuck off with your dumb...
I'm a good space cop. Yeah.
Like, it just gets old They all kind of get a little old sometimes because they're tropes of, like, different...
I'm a tough mercenary.
Yeah, yeah.
Kill my guy, yeah.
So, like, you can get in the problem... At least I did. You can get the problem of just, like, there's certain people that every time I talk with them, I'm just like, ugh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I just got Liara. Actually getting to that planet was like this insane headache. I swear I chose 15 other planets to look at before I got to the correct one, like just by happenstance. It was so like, it's like, hey, travel to this galaxy. All we know is there's a planet with Prothean runes on it. It's like, okay, click a planet. No, you can't even go to this planet. Why is this selectable? B. Click a planet. Do you want to scan this planet? Yeah. You got resources. Okay. Like, I just kind of like clicked through all these planets. I did like 2 side quest planets, which were just like my Mako introduction again.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, right. And then like immediately got killed by a Thresher Maw. Like, it spat acid on me and I didn't mash the Omni-Gel button enough times, so I died. And I was like, well, that was the greatest game over. But I just saved, so I was okay.
Okay,
but
that's good.
It was just like, oh, right, okay, this is why this is kind of annoying. Like, cheap game overs happen in the Mako.
Like, welcome back, bitch.
A little bit, yeah. It's like, I'm just trying to pick up this, like, side quest dealie where it's like, hey, there's these dead mercenaries here. And it's like, okay, now I know that. Or Marines, I guess. Or when you go to, like, a planet and there's, like, 3 things on it, and one of the 3 things is just like, yeah, your electronic skill isn't high enough, so you can't even do anything with this. And it's like, well, cool. I guess I'll come back and click on this later once I put more points in or something. Like, that kind of RPG layer that they stripped away in the sequels occasionally gets in the way of, like, well, I'm here now and this vault is locked, so I guess I'll just never have whatever's in there. I don't know. And then I just slink away. So, yeah, there's been a couple headaches with that. But eventually, like, planet 15 or 16, I finally was like, okay, this is a real planet with, like, a level. And Liara's on it, and there's, like, a whole mission and a boss and everything. And I did that and had a pretty good time. Just shooting stuff and finally using my powers a little bit and whatever. Still easy mode, though, so just kind of shooting everybody. Not really worrying about it. But now I have the whole crew, I think. There's 6 characters, right?
Oh, right. So, 2 was the one that added a whole lot. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's only 6 in the first one.
There's Kaden, Ashley, Liara, Garrus,
Rex, and Tally.
Yeah. Rex.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, that just seems like
kind of narrow, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's a little weird. Yeah, but I think the pacing of this game is actually a lot faster than, like, I remember. There's basically 2 more missions that I'm working on right now that are like big story missions, and then there's all the little ancillary, like, go to this ship and there's like 10 guys and some pirates or something, and you'll click on a data pad or whatever. Like, there's those.
Those games aren't very long at all, especially if you like mainline, I guess. Like, yeah, it's the loyalty missions in 2 that really make that game specifically feel longer. But like, yeah, 1 is it can be very short if you want it to be.
I think that's why it was kind of an achievement hunt game for me for a bit, because it would be like basically pair up with 2 characters and fight everyone with them.
Yeah,
would be like an achievement essentially.
Yeah.
So it'd be just like, all right, these 2 this playthrough, these 2 this playthrough, these 2 this playthrough. There we go. I did it.
Kind of an uninteresting way to do achievements, but it was early. So
it was early, 07 or whatever. Yeah. So still figuring out the best way to do that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, as an engineer class, I don't know if I've really seen any super different stuff. Like, honestly, I thought it was like, oh, you're specialized for the pistol, so you should only use that. But then I pulled out a sniper rifle and it was like awesome at killing dudes. So it was like, oh, okay. Like, I thought because I had no specialty in it, it would be like wavery and crazy and terrible. But it's like, nah, you can just shoot guys. It's not really blocking that. That might be a legendary edition like thing, because I do have that mode on. Okay. So maybe it's being friendly to me in terms of combat on that end of it. But yeah, it's been pretty straightforward shooting stuff. I don't like the grenades. They don't have enough splash. Like, they're really narrow.
The only thing I remember about grenades is originally they were on the, like, back button on the 360 controller or something dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's X now on the Xbox One controller I'm using.
Yeah, makes sense. They should be on something that's
But it's
easy.
weird. It's like you kind of throw it out like it's like a disc, and it just kind of hovers there, and
like
then you press
pucks.
it again. They're little pucks, yeah. And then the explosion radius seems like incredibly small. Like,
I think that's why they got rid of them.
That was right next to that door frame.
Kind of useless.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That part's a bit underwhelming, is hucking a grenade and it not really achieving much of anything.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's just, shoot that guy in the head and you win. It is kind of neat. Like, I forgot they really talk about the Shadow Broker a bunch in, like, the first game.
Yeah, they do.
Like, they tease that up and, like, set up, like, just bigger stuff that pays off way later in, like, DLC in Game 2. Like, that's kind of their universe stuff. Oh, it's kind of unfortunate too, because like the big like headache in 07, like a lot of reviews and everything I remember was like, man, these damn elevators, dude, like these loading times.
You can skip those now if you want to.
I know, but like there's like little audio bits that play over all of them, and they're like side quests and codex stuff and whatever. Like if you hear that stuff, so I'm assuming if you skip it, it'll still go in your codex because your character heard it.
Yeah, probably.
But I've kind of just been pausing to like, oh, I just talked to that reporter, Emily Wong, and now this is talking about that and is like populating my codex with like information and stuff. And it's like, I don't want to miss it. So I'm going to sit in this elevator. And you can pan the camera around and it's not that long. But some of the stuff seems like...
Did you say this was bad? I'm confused. I think the choice to skip it is better than not having one at all. But
oh, sure.
I just don't know who would skip it, because that stuff's pretty good.
That's what I mean. It's like you can skip over all this flavor if you want to, or you could just fast travel around basically on these terminals, which was always there, I think.
I bet speedrunners are so happy.
Sure. But I guess as someone with like a dozen years of foggy memory, it's like I'm fine hearing all these news blurbs and stuff again. But like, I guess it's nice to... although I will say, actually, it's sort of neat playing this game now as like someone who has played all the games and is familiar with the races and the lore and everything. Because in the dialogue options, you can basically just ignore a bunch of the investigate and like question stuff, because you're like, no, I'm a citizen of this universe and I know that the Asari live for a long time, so I don't need to ask Liara this stupid question. Yeah, because I know that, like, Commander Shepard knows that and I know that, so we just can move on. Totally. Like, there's a certain like efficiency to how this is playing out now, because it's just like, no, they live for hundreds of years, why would I ask her 50 years? Are you telling me you're not 30? That's crazy. And like have this stupid conversation where you don't know anything.
Yeah.
So, or like, I am still asking like the L Corps what they're about and stuff, but that's because they're like bummed out. They're these ambassadors that are just like, the council doesn't give a crap about us. We're just over here. We're sharing an office and they just don't care. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. I'll hear you guys. You guys are neat aliens. I kind of wish you got an Elcor at some point, because they're so big and weird. Like, I think,
they would have been a nightmare to like code in some places, I think,
because they'd be so different.
Yeah. It would be neat.
But they're like big, burly, crazy creatures. Like if you just had one that could throw stuff for you, like Hulk is in your team or something, it would be neat. But it would be profoundly different. Rex is as weird as they get, like character design wise, in terms of burliness.
Rex is definitely weird. He would make a good sumo wrestler.
Yeah, I think so.
He has a charge attack.
Stability. Yeah.
And he's stable. Both both financially and mentally.
Shield at Itachi. Yeah. Like he'd win every match.
Totally.
Just immediate. Yeah.
Just smash it. And the Rikishi just head explodes on it.
You have to Henka just to survive, and then
the match can start.
Trip him. Yeah. Not really fair, yeah. But if he's younger than 23 and he can join, actually they don't even live that long because of the genophage and everything. So, after that,
it's so good how like good they made on all the things that they built up in the first game.
Oh yeah, like all the seeds that are sown in the first game with all the different like the pilgrimages of the Quarians and everything, and like the Solarian. Like I'm kind of surprised how like there are Solarians everywhere, but you're not really getting to know what they're about, I guess, until Morden is in the second game. You know, like he really fleshes out that.
Sure.
Because like one of the head council members is a Solarian, and like I'm helping this weird scientist dude with like the scanning of the keepers or whatever.
Yeah.
But like
I hate that mission, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
I kind of wish I talked to that guy earlier, because I definitely like saw like 12 of them and then saw that guy. And it's like, oh, cool. I guess I'll run around again.
Yep.
But yeah. But yeah, they don't really dig into what the Solarians are all about until game 2, I think. I'll pay attention if more gets in there. But also there's tons of codex I'm not reading. So, you know, because it's like, well, I did this a dozen years ago.
Sure.
But if I want to really read, there's tons of stuff.
It's there if you want to dig in. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got the ship flying around doing missions and stuff now, so I'm in it, I guess. And it's still good. It's generally good. The dune buggy, like I sort of admire the idea of like you're on an alien planet and you kind of got to be a detective and like find the stuff. But it's just like, yeah, but I'm just driving over to the 3 points. Like there's not really discovery in this open world, you know. It's maybe it's fine that they pared that element out into and focused more on the character writing and stories, you know.
Yeah.
Instead of the traversal. But I think that, you know, maybe they were trying to be the Warthog or something, because the Warthog is fun to drive. And like, oh, you got your own buggy and you can ride around. And it's like, yeah. It's got jets.
I guess so.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Nice try, I guess.
You want
like, and it's so core to like how that game is. You can't just like not have it. So it's still there.
Yeah.
You know, like in the remastering, it's not just like, well, we built all this. So the one weird thing that seems to be happening is like, I think just how the game was originally made in those open world sections, there just were loading stops. But because I'm playing it on PC and my PC's really fast, like it doesn't really need it, but it'll still like pop a box that says don't turn off your computer, but it's there for like 0.1 seconds. Like you'll enter like a large part of like the new area and it'll just kind of pop a box for like 0.1 seconds. It's just kind of like, why is that there? But it's like you have the fastest Xbox 360 ever.
Right.
You know, it's just kind of like, oh, that's weird. I kind of just wish this didn't even surface at all. But instead it's like constantly reminding you like, we couldn't load this whole area back in 2007. Like we had to kind of stream it in. Like, you know, Half-Life 1, how it would just like stop you for a little bit sometimes.
Yep.
It's kind of like that.
It might be
like,
hard coded in there for specific sections.
Like it's just like load up everything, but it's like didn't really need to worry about it, but it still just like lets you know that it had to work. It's weird. But yeah, that's the one little like, this is an old game. Like that keeps coming up. But yeah. Anyway.
Do you want to guess what the world record for Mass Effect 1 specifically, not this edition because that's not out yet, but the original?
I don't even know what ballpark to aim at. I'm going to say like 5 hours.
1 hour and 31 minutes.
Okay.
So that's any percent.
Like completion or just like to credits?
That's any percent. All missions and assignments is 5 hours and 24 minutes.
Okay, I feel good about my 5 hour wild park guess then.
Pretty good guess. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I'm gonna.
You definitely can hit that X to skip everything anyone's saying to you if you want.
I'm gonna use this as a seg, as we say in the biz, which is short for business, and seg short for segue. There's been some weird controversies going on, specifically in the Resident Evil 8 speedrun community recently.
Okay.
The thing I'm going to ask you is, do you like or dislike glitches in a speedrun?
I mean, I feel it puts it in its own like subcategory of the speedrun, right?
So
like
this is kind
asterisk with this glitch run kind of thing, right?
So kind of. What's going on with Resident Evil 8 is that the Resident Evil series, just in general, has a very specific people doing the runs like all the time for every game, and they're hard at it again because of course they are.
Like a big new installment is out, like that's their bread and butter.
Yep.
Lifeblood. Yeah.
And people were getting mad because there was a glitch found where you can skip. It's called Castle Skip, which is a whole house, like a whole area of the game, just skipped to the end boss and then fight.
Oh.
And
okay.
it's the one that they've been showing. Like it's with Lady D and like her mistresses and all that sort of thing. It's the one that people, for all intents and purposes, it's the one that Capcom I think spent the most time on. And, like, that's why they showed it off the most, because it's, like, pretty dope of an area.
Yeah.
But,
okay.
So people that watch Resident Evil streams and stuff like that and content, they've been getting pissed off because everybody's doing the glitch. And
so it's like, I want to see that stuff.
Yep.
Why aren't you playing that stuff? It's like, well, I don't need to because of the glitch. And it's like, well, this is a bunk run then.
And, like, well, that's the thing, is that people are saying that, and then the speedrunners are like, here's the thing. I don't want to do it glitchless, but if I'm going to do a speedrun, I'm doing it the fastest way possible. I have to do it this way to stay, like...
Oh, no.
And it's like...
To compete or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
Because it's a speedrun. It isn't casually play the game to show your viewers 100 times a day. It's I have to go the fastest possible, so you have to do it. And like...
Oh, no.
So it made me really think...
Capcom
you should not allow that.
the game?
Well, you should. You just shouldn't allow glitches in any run, I think. That's kind of where I'm at with it, because I kind of don't even respect... I respect people that find the glitches and are able to do it. I don't respect, like, or want to watch somebody skip the game to the end just because it's the fastest way to get through it. Like, at some point, you're not playing the game anymore. You are breaking it to get to the end. I want to see you play it fast, you know? And that's kind of where I stand with it. So I'm just kind of curious where your stance was on this.
Well, yeah, like, I guess you'd have to delineate, like, is there no market for, like, this is a completionist run, speed run, and it's, like, has to hit all these bullet points or something? Like, why don't they do that?
There will be eventually.
That's what people want.
It's just because it's the, like, initial rush, right? Right now.
Right. I guess, yeah. Like, just because you can kind of prescribe a checklist of what quantifies the ideal run for a given set of rules or whatever. So if, like, the world demands that you go through the castle to qualify or something, then they could just do that, I guess. But yeah, that sucks that it's kind of the min-maxy way of a speedrun demands this hiccup. So you get to the castle and you can immediately, like, go into a room or something and you just finish it off? You don't even need to go through 90% of the content?
I kind of don't understand even what it is. It seems like you go into the castle, you do maybe 5-10% of it, and then you can do a thing where you glitch outside of it, and then you can load it up and you're at the boss fight.
Oh, so it's truly, like, breaking it up.
Yeah.
Like, it's janking it out. Yeah. Huh. That's a shame. Like, yeah, my thing would be, like, I don't know that Capcom cares about the speedrun community, but would be, all right, we're patching it out, you guys. We're taking the glitch out. These runs are bunk now. Like, would they ever care to do that or something?
I doubt it.
For a single player game? Like, I don't know if it matters.
Super doubt it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
that's weird.
And the thing is that there's no rule why you couldn't just, like, say glitch doesn't count, or, like, I guess the people that run the board at speedrun.com, they can make the rule. They literally can say, we will not be accepting any runs that use this glitch, and then nobody can do it.
That just goes in its own, like, ghetto category that nobody cares about, of just like, oh, you did the castleless run? Sure, I guess. Shaved a few seconds off that, but nobody wants to watch those.
The problem is it doesn't work that way, though, because the fastest run is called any percent, which is how you... what you would want is glitchless, but nobody watches glitchless categories. They don't? Yeah, because any percent is the one that gets into, like, GDQ. Or, like, it's the one that, like... it's the fastest one, so it's the one people want to watch. Also, there's also weird issues as well where...
Or are there other glitches that people are taking advantage of? So this would be like only the castle glitch can't be done. You can still do the thing with the duping or whatever.
As far as I know, there isn't anything else like that. There are people looking for those currently.
Okay.
Because if there's one broken ass area, there's probably another.
Or a way to like really kill a boss easy or something. It's like, well, it's not. That's a glitch. It's like, well, it's an exploit. I don't know. Like, you gotta allow that because everyone can do it or whatever.
Well, this is the thing is that it's gotten so weird because there was a time where a Super Metroid run is any % or 100% because Super Metroid was played on the Super Nintendo. No ifs, ands, or buts. Resident Evil Village not only has... so far it has an any % New Game Plus for people that want to use the New Game Plus weapons. Those are weirdly popular, and I don't get why, because literally anybody with the Infinite Magnum can be fast. So I don't know why you would watch that, but...
It's like the most boring way.
They're weirdly popular, any % New Game Plus in Resident Evil, and I don't understand why. There's glitchless, New Game Plus, and knife only. In those, there's PS5 and Xbox Series X, PS4, Xbox One, like these are two separate categories, and PC. Yeah. And inside PC, they have to tell if they're running at 120 or 60 frames per second. At some point, it's just like...
Well, it's so
this is fucking stupid.
Into like subcategories anyway.
It's like, I got a world record. Yeah, but you got this world record because you ran it at 30 frames per second while windowed in like 720p while playing casual with new game. Like, there's so many like caveats in games now that I kind of just don't respect a lot of speedruns that come out now anyway.
Or I just remember like the Twin Galaxies like score lists and stuff for arcade games, but it'd be, like, every port and everything. So it's like, well, I'm the world record holder on like the Xbox Live Arcade version of this thing. It's like, okay, like whatever. Like,
which is like more like is better because those old machines would glitch out at some point because it couldn't keep score.
More people played it, but nobody cares about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of an interesting thing that I was just like, speedruns are so like kind of dumb now.
That's really a shame that it's like a major section of the game though is like rendered useless to this category or whatever. That's dumb.
Yeah.
But oh well, that's how the I don't know.
That's how the run is speeded.
The speed run cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really get too into speedruns. I did see a guy run on Far Cry 2 and just like it just becomes stuff where it's like, well, this is just the most efficient way to beat this mission. Yeah. To like use a mortar cannon from this corner and like kill the guy.
See, that I like because they're playing the game.
Like, whoa, that guy like figured out the game.
Like wow, you're playing it good. You're not glitching. You're not setting like a tree on fire so that it pushes you through the world to get to the end. Like
right. Whereas, when I do tune into like games done quick, it's just like, what the hell did this guy just do to Donkey Kong 64? It's like, oh, I don't know. Like he went swimming and fell through a thing, and then he was in a totally different level fighting a boss. And
okay, N64 games seem really bad for that stuff, for sure.
Yeah. Like, it's just like this effectively isn't even the game I grew up playing, so I don't even know what I'm seeing. Like I just can't even. Oh, how's he going to deal with this boss? Oh, he's not, dude. He's doing the speedrun.
Yeah.
Like, why would he fight
Only
that boss?
Babies fight bosses. Like, what are you talking about? That's a fucking game.
No, there's an annoying fish. And it's like, no, you don't have to fight it if you do this. Oh, okay. I don't know what's... Okay. So I'm just not really the market for that level of efficiency or whatever that they're striving for. But
sure.
Anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
But hey, I got 3 games that I wonder if anyone ever bothered to speedrun in the Forgotten Treasure segment.
I mean, I could look them up as you talk, and I will tell you.
All right, let's find out if like anybody even does this. Number 1 is speaking of Virtua Fighter earlier and our wishes for more sumo involvement. Nina from that game had a spin-off, Death by Degrees, which was an action adventure game for the PS2, kind of late era. Purple outfitted CIA MI6 collab thing. She's like a spy, snapping necks and punching people. Yeah. Do you remember that game?
I know the cover of it because I've seen it in the rental store many times, and I never bothered with it.
Yeah. Apparently it's not very good. Jeff Gerstmann gave it a 5.6. It is it sounds like it does have that thing that the Mortal Kombat games would eventually do, where you punch someone and then it does an X-ray vision and their skull shatters. And
neat.
Whoa, dude.
It's kind of the progenitor of that thing.
Yeah, but then you keep fighting them because they still have health in their bar, and it's what? That guy's skull exploded.
Yeah, but that was Mortal Kombat 2. They did that as well.
Yeah, it's just a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
Apparently it's weirdly long. The main thing that came up with this game was this is kind of the wild era before everybody was just copying Arkham Asylum for fighting systems where you're juggling multiple opponents.
Sure.
You know, the goal was to figure out how do you do that. This is pointing the right stick at whatever the enemies are was the solution in the time, which would be it's a similar system to this other game, Rise to Honor, with Jet Li. Do you remember that game?
I do. So, sorry, this was your other treasure?
Yeah, this is the second one because it spins right out. Apparently it has basically the same combat system of point the stick at all the guys.
Oh, simple I
animations. See. Yeah.
So, I don't remember if you actually said it, but the full title is Jet Li Rise to Honor.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
you have
they put
to
his name right there.
You have to.
Yeah. Even though he plays a character named Kit or something in it, it's just starring him.
There is a speedrun
action hero
for Jet Li Rise to Honor.
What's the run time?
Any percent normal is 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Okay.
5 months ago, somebody got that. It's pretty recent.
Was Death by Degrees no speedruns?
None at all.
Wow. So someone can take the top spot for no effort.
I'm going for it. I just have to beat it.
You just have to play this mediocre action game, which I guess came out before Tekken 5. Oh, did I say Virtual Fighter? I think it's a Tekken character.
It's Tekken, yeah.
It's totally a Tekken character, dude.
Yeah.
I did it again. But okay.
Same thing.
Sorry to the fighting game community. I didn't actually launch Tekken 7 yet, so I didn't refamiliarize myself with that world. But okay. Yes, Tekken. It had a demo for Tekken 5 at the time. Was the best thing he cited in that review. Was just well, you can play Tekken 5, I guess.
That sounds right.
Mediocre game.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rise to Honor, I guess the cutscenes are doing a lot of the hard work there. The actual gameplay and fighting, it gets really dry pretty quickly. And the shooting is point and you have infinite ammo, which sounds good to me.
Yeah.
You're just shooting your pistols and stuff.
Yep.
And it looks like Jet Li, so there's that. But all the big action set piece stuff apparently happens in a cutscene as opposed to gameplay. So
they can't trust the shitty player to make Jet Li not look awesome.
Yeah, you got to shoot this helicopter. And it's we'll just do it for you. Take a look at this. And then it just is an action movie. So, yeah, I'm assuming you skip all that if you want to get to 3 hours, though.
Probably.
Yeah, there you go. So Jet Li, Rise to Honor. And then the last one is not related to those at all. I just was curious about what the hell this was. It's a Sega game for the GameCube called Amazing Island.
Okay.
Yeah. Ryan Davis reviewed this one. It's a pretty funny review. He says a more apt title would be OK Islet. Because it's a monster game, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon type thing. I think you build your own monsters.
Okay.
And then they compete in mini games that you then win stuff with and tweak out your monsters in your island, and you just kind of hang out in this weird Sega world. I don't know. It sounded kind of like a Chow Garden or something, but elaborated upon, maybe. But
okay.
Yeah, it's just I guess, yeah, striving to have some sort of Pokemon copycats was a era of gaming.
Sure.
And this at least was not one I'd ever looked at, and I like my GameCube, so.
Can I put my mini disc in there to create a monster randomly? Oh,
Monster Rancher style?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
God damn.
Although Actually, yeah, you can like really dig into the mechanics of like, oh, I want to give it like these horns and like make its shoulders bigger and like really tweak it out. Or apparently you can just answer a bunch of weird, obtuse questions and it'll like make a monster for you, which I thought was kind of neat. Like I might do that. Like just have the GameCube disc quiz me about my mind and then decide what monster I want to be hanging out with.
That does sound neat.
Yeah, it's weird, but I don't know. Amazing Island. So, and that got a 6.5. So a lot of middle of the road stuff. This batch of treasure.
That also has a speed run.
All right, what's the Amazing Island runtime?
1 hour and 19 minutes from a year ago.
Okay. People digging into the catalog of that era. That's cool, I guess. That's not bad.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I got for the treasures. I just did 3 this week.
Yeah.
Just, that's a nice number.
The big thing with Sumo.
Yeah.
And like I know you've been talking about it off and on, but the big ending happened, so had to talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about flight simulators? Or I'm kind of like, let's say, hey, we're planning a destination, going to the Amazing Island, hop on an airplane. What how do I get there?
Yeah,
I need traffic control.
I was reading this article on Wired. People can go check that out if you want to get like deep into
the details.
Yeah. It's entitled "The Hostile Takeover of a Microsoft Flight Simulator Server."
Okay.
So what happened
is this for the new game, like the most recent one last year?
Well, so here's the thing: is that there's a group here that kind of came together with the old game, like one of the old games called Flight Simulator X, or at least that's when like they start getting more popular on PC. Then they moved to the new Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that's kind of like when all this stuff started taking off. So they're called FSATC, which is Flight Sim Air Traffic Control. And basically what it is a community of people with a Discord and all that sort of thing, where people would come in, they would learn, if they were brand new, they would learn from veterans like basics on air traffic control and how to like read the different like things you need to read and learn how to fly properly and all that sort of thing. And then they would go on to play a role of an air traffic controller or a pilot or like whatever they wanted to do. And there was like people that were actually like super, I mean, this whole community is super into this.
Is there infrastructure in the game to support this? Like kind of like a MMO clan system, or like
I don't believe
this
so.
List? Okay.
I think they all just did it through excuse me. I think they all just did it through like a Discord that they set up.
Okay. All right.
So it was set up by a group of people that I'm going to try to find their names here. Not like that it really matters, I guess. Salad, AJ, Dork Toast, and Red Mugs. Oh, and Ninja, who would ultimately leave as the server got popular. So he's not that big of a deal, I guess.
Wheel in this. Okay.
So that's kind of, the 4-person team is Red Mugs, Salad, Ninja, and then this AJ guy or whatever.
Okay.
This AJ guy apparently was like one of these kind of pieces of shit that he was like really into this idea that like, oh, this is my server or something. Like it wasn't like it wasn't like a project that the community was putting together. He was trying to like be in charge of everything or whatever. Apparently paid $2,500 in hosting fees, bought a laptop to host the community game server, all this sort of shit, right? Like that type of guy.
Okay, gets like over involved a little bit.
To the point where he was apparently like trying to reach out and talk to somebody at Microsoft to be like the official Flight Sim Discord and community or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
So
getting way into it. Yeah.
So things were getting weird or whatever. Oh, wait, this is a great line here. At one point, AJ changes LinkedIn to identify himself as the founder of the Flight Simulator FSATC, and he told people that he filed a trademark on the community's name, so FSATC was his name, apparently.
Okay. So some sort of weird power grab attempt. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is all happening in the time before Flight Sim came out. This is in 2019, 2020, like beginning in there. So it hasn't even like really popped off yet or anything. They banned him because he is a fucking weirdo.
Like the other three are like, don't want to deal with this.
Apparently they would joke around and say that like, oh, we're going to delete the server or whatever, and he would flip the fuck out. Including when they made this joke, he filed a lawsuit against one of them, against Red Mugs, who turned out to be a 14-year-old kid somewhere who had a... AJ made a filing with the Porter Superior Court in Indiana demanding control of the FSATC server be handed over to him. And then, like, it says his name and stuff like this. You can, like, read about it if you want to see names and all that sort of thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just read this verbatim. AJ is a lot of things, so typically none that he claims. He's perhaps best known as a bit internet character who crops up with occasional scheme for internet attention. He scored headlines by posing as an entrepreneur offering a $10,000 bounty to crack the iPhone's Touch ID, positioned himself as the organizer of the Occupy Chicago movement, and allegedly pretended to be a mega donor behind the Lincoln Project. There's links, by the way, for all these things that I just said, of stories of the shit he's done.
Okay.
Apparently they approached him for comment on this, and he said no comment because he is trying to sue a fucking 14-year-old for a Discord server. Like, a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of the story. Basically, what I'll end off is saying is that he ended up, like, strong-arming Red Mugs out because he's a kid, and he's like, I can't deal with this. Like, this is fucked up. Everybody in the community is like on edge and just like we're
just trying to play the flight sim.
There's just infighting and like people leaving and stuff like that. The best part about this though is that Flight Sim did come out eventually, as we know, and Microsoft did announce a partnership with an air traffic control community, and it was a different one called Virtual Air Traffic Simulation Network.
Okay. So, like, this one's gone crazy, so we're gonna have to turn our attention over here without the red tape and the lawsuits and the infighting. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, internet communities.
It's just so great because, like, there's always these weird stories in gaming from the fighting game community. Actually, a lot from the fighting game community, unfortunately, especially if you want to read about pedophilia and all that sort of bullshit. EVE Online, MMOs in general have had like their share of this sort of thing. It's just kind of
crazy community evolution and like strange power turns and
that kind of makes sense because again, fighting game community, huge community. MMOs, I mean, their whole gameplay is being a community, so of course there's going to be weird shit in there.
And there's like economies involved and all this weird like elements. Yeah,
it was just great reading about an air traffic control community in Flight Simulator being so fucking weirdly toxic.
Yeah, like such a sedate, like it's like a golf game or something that somehow got crazy. It's like blue skies, green, fields and flying airplanes. It's like no. There is some hot, spicy drama in here for some reason.
Blue skies and green fields and knives and backs.
Yeah, just ugh.
So weird.
Well, so check out Wired, I guess, for the full details and the seedy history of AJ. But yeah, that's okay.
Apparently that community is still active and hosts flights regularly. But
okay.
Yeah.
I think the latest Flight Simulator has been on my wish list is just a curio because like I haven't checked one of those out since I was like a kid, like at a friend's house or something, and just be like, what a weird idea. Like just set up a flight and like kick back or something. Like, what do you do? What's the gameplay? But I haven't done it yet. I guess it's always there as an option. But
do you like the whole like flight industry? It's hard to talk about this because we're in part of the industry.
Like, do I have innate curiosity about... I mean, I don't know. It would be kind of like almost ancillary to that stuff of just like, hey, let's check out these airports I'm like actually interacting with in my real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There might be something to that for me. And then like I still fondly remember like airports from like good vacations and stuff. Like, oh yeah, going to Kix, man. Going to Kansai. That's a great airport. You know?
Sure.
Or like, oh, I love like MSP or whatever, like Minnesota St. Paul has like a really crazy square shape. And you can order sandwiches on iPads, or at least you could, like 6 years ago, and that was cool. Like, I don't know. Just, I don't hate airports, so it'd be more that. But the actual, like, being in an airplane, I don't know. Like, kind of a sedate thing. Like, just chilling in the sky.
Yeah.
But, yeah. 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 I don't know. That's really the lion's share of everything I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
I'll do a brief OK video plug, just that we're talking about Lost World this week. I've already got that one edited for the first time in a while where I've been ready. So that's nice.
I thought for some reason you said you were going to watch a movie during dinner. I thought that was going to be like...
Yeah, that's going to be our next recording session is going to be that one. Yeah, but we're a bit ahead of where we are in real time. So there's that.
I'm glad I didn't just say what the movie was, just in case.
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah.
Tip our hand a little early. But yeah, dinosaurs, going to talk about Steven Spielberg and dinosaurs. Do you care about like the Jurassic World trajectory, like the third movie coming out? Or
oh, dude, yeah, I have to see where the third movie comes out after that abortion that should have been the second. Holy shit! Oh my god, what a crazy way that movie went.
I kind of loved it in how dumb it was. Like it crept up my list.
It's so much better than the first World. So much better.
In terms of just like dopey entertainment value, I thought so. Yeah. But the weird like auction and horror house raptor and whatever. Like
I have to see what they do with that bullshit after that. They made a believer out of me. It's like, oh, this is like the new wave of garbage. I love it.
Big budget garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah, I mean, Lost World kind of like sets some of that with like a dinosaur in a big city, and now like Blue is in some town in like Arizona or something at the end of that movie, like Fallen Kingdom. Like we're hopefully gonna get landside dino terror again, but I don't know. It's dinosaur movies. I'm up for more, I guess. The sixth one, right? That would be the next one.
Oh my god, I guess so.
Yeah. 6 times the charm? No, I don't know.
Is there not another one in there somewhere? What? I don't
think so.
There's that TV series, that kids series that came out recently-ish.
Oh, there's Jurassic Park TV series? Okay.
Yeah, well, I think it's Jurassic World specifically.
That makes more sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's Jurassic Park 1, 2, 3. And Lost World, I guess, is there as well. Lost World, Jurassic Park. And then you have World's Fallen Kingdom, and then whatever the heck the next one's going to be.
Yeah, I guess World did come out 6 years ago. It's not exactly new, so
yeah,
I guess so.
So there you go. That's what we'll be talking about over on OK Video. If you want to hear more about that, superior sequels is the category. We're still figuring out what that's about, but compared to some of the other ones, we still feel this one has a good case. So yeah.
Superior
and that.
Oh wait.
It's like sometimes they're superior to the actual like original in our minds, and we'll explain how we got there. But a lot of the time, it's more like, well, it's better than anything that came after this. Like so to the point where it's like this sequel was like kind of like when it came out, but in hindsight, maybe it's actually awesome because Jurassic Park 3 was so bad or something like that. You know?
For some reason, I spaced out. I thought you said The Lost World at first. This makes way more sense. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just like, superior sequel to Lost World? What?
Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
Better than the first movie?
No, I don't think so.
Right.
No. Yeah.
I don't think anybody does, like, actually.
No, because that first one was such a landmark thing. It's impossible to make that case. So
yeah,
the definition of each episode's like criteria changes a little bit.
Okay, sure.
So we're not always asserting, no, dude, like Nightmare on Elm Street 2, way better than, like sometimes we might say that, but other times it's more, well, I like it more than the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, Clerks 2 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hardline stance
discussion. Yeah.
I like gold more than shit. What a
pretty
sense.
controversial season. Yeah, we're getting crazy. But yeah. So yeah, that's Pixel Response 160. I don't know if I said the number.
It was not said.
So
nope.
So there we go. Now it's official. I'm pretty sure I still have that right.
Oh, we gotta start again now. All right, sumo wrestling, right?
Yeah, Chiyomaru had a pretty good tournament. I love bringing him up because he climbed up out of Jurio. Like it was fun to see. But okay, do you want me to do the sign off or?
Let's do it.
All right. So this has been Paul and Nathan. Thanks for sailing with us on the good ship Pixel Response. Safe travels.